Good morning. Thank you all for joining us again for our second series on the long-term care week that we're having. Katie has had some technical difficulties this morning, so she asked me to go ahead and get us kicked off. So on her behalf, I'd like to thank you all for joining us. And we hope what you find here is informative, and anything question-wise at the end, we'll be taking questions, or you can always reach out to Katie, as she's a great resource, as you all know, in this space for you. So I'm Charlene Werther. I'm with Nationwide. For those of you that were with us last week, thanks for joining us again this week. We also have Alyssa De La Cruz from Nationwide as one of our long-term care specialists with us today. So thank you again for your time. And before I jump into Silver Brick Road, I just wanted to do a quick recap for some of those that might not have been with us last week. We covered the Nationwide CareMatters hybrid contract. And just a couple quick reminders and bullet points on that in case you missed us last week is CareMatters is our hybrid long-term care policy, provides your clients with the access to cash indemnity when and if they go on claim. So it's very flexible in that nature. No receipts are needed once that client has gone on claim. We also provide a multiple options for payments: single pay, 5 pay, 10 pay, pay to 65, and 100. We have multiple benefit options from 2 to 7 years, and we have 3 different inflation options. So we have a very flexible policy that is able to be designed individually for each one of your clients when needed. We also provide retroactive payment on the elimination period. So what does that mean? That means we have a 90-day elimination period, but once you hit that 90-day wait, we go to that 4th month, you're going to get paid back for those 3 months that you were waiting through your elimination period. And today, then, what you see on the screen, hopefully, is Silver Brick Road. And that is a concierge service that is available on our Nationwide policies. So what is Silver Brick Road? Well, it's a little bit different than the Yellow Brick Road that we're all familiar with, but it does provide a path for your client's long-term care journey should they need it. It's really a great benefit. It's provided by Nationwide. We don't sponsor the program, it's a third-party program, but we provide it to all of our policyholders. So not only your CareMatters contracts that you've sold, but if you have any of our life with long-term care, it's available on those contracts as well. So really, really good benefit out there for your policyholders. Just a little quick disclaimer here, and then we'll get to the meat of the contract here. So Silver Brick Road, as I mentioned, it's a concierge platform. And what does it do for your clients is it really simplifies their whole process. So if anybody's gone through a long-term claim with a loved one before, you can understand how difficult and taxing that can be, emotional, financially, and just from a time standpoint of trying to narrow down care in your area. And how do you know if you're getting the best care, and where do you even start? What questions do you even ask? So Silver Brick Road provides this platform. It provides you with service in the area. There's a whole network for your family and friends, and there's a lot of tools to help you move forward. And we'll get to all those here in just a minute. As I mentioned earlier, Silver Brick Road is available to all of our policyholders. So it is a concierge service. It is provided on behalf of Nationwide. We do not charge the policy owner for this service, so they can access it the day they get their policy in hand and start looking at it. Again, all the CareMatters, any of your long-term care riders that you have with Nationwide, they have access to this. We also have this Care Circle, and Silver Brick Road can then be accessed by those friends and family that you set up and give access to, and we'll get to that too in just a minute. Now, this is what the website is going to look like when you go to your clients and tell them, you know, they've done a great job in protecting their long-term care need. Now, let me dig a little deeper and tell you about this great service that you have on behalf of Nationwide when you need care in the future. And they'll go to silverbrickroad.com, just as you can see it here, /Nationwide. They're going to sign up. They will pick Nationwide, obviously their sponsor. There are other carriers that have this platform, and we'll talk about that as well, just so you guys are aware of that. And then they're just going to enter some basic information and get that account set up. It's really simple, a couple minutes or less to get it all up and running. Once they're registered and they're in there, you can see this is their homepage, and this is exactly what they will see. and you'll see the different boxes that they can go through, from tips and things to do, finding services, cost of care, the circle care that I mentioned a minute ago. There's a library with just a ton of information. You guys will love that. And then there's some documents that outline next steps and where do I go from here. The care circle. So when you click on this tab, this is the screen that will come up. And I think this is probably one of the most important pieces. I've used the library a ton, so there's great information there. One of the things that I find in the library very helpful are, let's say you have somebody that needs care and you just have no idea where to begin. Even those of us in the business, it can be taxing, and who do you call and where do you start? You can go in there and pull up all kinds of questions to ask. So they have cheat sheets on, here's what you would ask an adult daycare. Here's what you would ask a nursing home, should that become an issue. Here's what you would ask for home health care providers. There's just a ton of information to help you make your best educated decision going forward. And then you get into this care circle, and it's just, we're all tech. We all have our texts. We can text our family members. We can email. We can do all those things. But this is one spot where everybody can communicate and talk about, let's just say, mom. So mom's on care, and she's receiving home health care. And that provider has been coming in 3 days a week and wants to, just update the family and friends on how mom is doing. You will set up an administrator, so somebody controls this, obviously not your caregiver. You just invite her or him in as a member, but your administrator will, have control over who's in here and who's not. But that caregiver can then log on and just, blog out basically to the family members, everything that has happened today. So let's just say they were with mom and they noticed she's getting low on her prescription. So there's a medication tab you can kind of see there. So she can comment that, we might need to order some updated medications. Or their example here, mom took the incorrect dose. We can also add in nutrition information or just a general comment. Hey, mom did really good today. She ate well for me. From an activity level, I was able to get her to walk to the mailbox to get the mail with me. She seemed to be in good spirits. On the flip side, we can say, mom wouldn't get off the couch. She didn't want to eat. She just had a rough day. So all of those observations can then be immediately communicated out to that care circle group. They also have added the mobile app for that. So that's obviously really important in the world we live in today. So that is available on the mobile application as well. So really just a great, easy place for people to access instead of, passing emails back and forth or text messages or phone calls. It's just a phenomenal tool in my opinion. The other area here that they
Charlene,
added,
can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Real quick, I have a quick question. They're asking, is this available on an Android?
That's a great question. I believe it is. I can double check that unless Alyssa might know that.
I am not sure. That's a good question. I haven't had that question come up yet. We'll have to double check on that one.
Yep, I definitely will. Good question though. Thank you for asking that. Any other ones before I jump back in there?
No,
Okay.
Ron, once I know the answer, I will definitely get back to you.
Yep, great question. So the other tab here is the documents, and this is really, kind of an overlooked area, and it didn't really hit home with me until I was with an advisor who shared a story with me, and I thought, wow, that's pretty powerful. This area here with the documents, you can upload any documents that you want in there. Of course, there's various formats you can see, but PDF is probably the most common that we all use. And this can be, your power of attorney, your medical power of attorney, any particular documents that you want loaded here, you can upload those. And I was with an advisor a few months ago, and they were saying to me, boy, I wish my clients had this. And here's what happened, Charlene, and this is why they think this is a great selling tool. They had a client who was a female in her early 60s and in good health, and as we all are at some point in good health, and then something derails us, right? But she had a massive stroke over the weekend, and they couldn't get a hold of the attorney, and nobody in the family could find her medical power of attorney. And it was just as you can imagine, everybody was panicked and they didn't know what to do. And they ended up, fortunately for them, they found it, but it took them some doing to find it. And this advisor said, holy smokes, if I had had this for her, then when they called me, and I could have just pulled this right up and I would have had it. So just a great place for people to position those documents. I know we have them in our saves, and maybe, I've got copies of my parents too, but do I remember where I put them last? And you just don't have to go digging for them. They can be uploaded into this platform. So I think that's really, really a neat thing to have. Inside here too, there's also some assessments. If your clients want to go through this, and they can look at these tools here. They can walk through some evaluations of their independence, and they'll end up with kind of a guide, if you will, some recommendations, things they can do to help improve their independence, maybe a little action plan on progress. Again, I mentioned mom walking to the mailbox. Maybe it's something so simple, you need to walk down the hallway 3 times a day. There's just a lot of resources here on helping in that area. And Alyssa, is there anything that you want to add in here that I'm missing on the independent assessment? I haven't used it a ton on this spot, but.
Yeah, I think it's a wonderful tool. I've played with it as somebody that got to early access it. It's just a good way, one, if you're just a bit concerned if your loved one needs, maybe they're showing signs that you're not sure about. And when I did it, I sat there and played with it. What if I was just forgetting things? And I went through the whole assessment as, hey, I have a lot of medications and I keep on forgetting. I sometimes miss this or I miss that. And what it ended up doing, and that's how I kind of played that assessment when I was taking it, was at the end, it gave me a lot of great recommendations, and that would give that same recommendation to anybody that is part of your care circle to let you know, hey, Alyssa took this comprehensive assessment, look at her results. And yeah, if I got 87 out of 100, maybe I'm not sure, maybe this is just normal part of my age. I'm not really having any kind of cognitive issues or showing signs that might be concerned. But the nice thing was, in my case, when I did it, I showed like a 50%, and it was showing, hey, you may want to look at a few things for her pills. You can ask the pharmacist to already prepackage these for her. Yes, it's additional cost to it, but she would never have to do it. She would just know, these are my morning pills, lunch, and dinner pills. Or even going all the way down to, hey, if this is not something you can do, the simple thing of getting one of those dollar containers that shows Saturday through Sunday, or Monday to Sunday, and organizing pills that way to be helpful. So it's a great tool to give you a lot of things based on how that assessment worked out, to say these might be areas to help maintain independence for this individual.
Awesome. Thank you. Any questions come up on that before we move to the next one? All right.
I don't see any at this. If
Okay.
anyone does have any questions, this is Katie, and I do apologize for this morning. We were having a little audio issue on my side, but if anybody does have any questions, please feel free to type them into the question section, and as we go, I will be just announcing them, and Alyssa and Charlene would be happy to answer them.
Great. Thanks, Katie. I forgot to make that announcement at the beginning. So the next part of this is searching for care, and this is really pretty powerful too. This one I have used, I used for my own mom, but you can go into the Find Services tab, and then you can look for providers. And so it might be a little hard to see here, but if you can see under the living options, you're going to be able to choose if I'm looking for adult daycare, if I have somebody with Alzheimer's. Really right now I just need assisted living, or if I need full skilled nursing home care. And you can check, multiple of those. So maybe you're looking for somebody who wants independent living at home, but also maybe some adult daycare for maybe 1 or 2 days a week. So you can search both of those at the same time and pull up different areas here. Obviously here, memory care, which would again go with your living options on your Alzheimer's. But you can go into this area and you just sort by your zip code. And you can tell here, you can see this one here, they gave a 25-mile proximity. You can set that up whatever you want. So maybe you only want places that are 10 minutes from your house. Maybe mom needs to be close to dad, or maybe one of the adult children is going to be driving mom to the adult daycare and it's got to be on their way to work. So you can put a zip code in there and put how far or how near you want to be to that zip code. And it will pop up, as you can see here with all the little red balloons, those providers within that range that has been picked. And then you can go down from there and drill down. I probably wish I should have did it on a live screen, but it will give you more detailed information about the facility as well.
Another great thing to point out for everybody is that there is a button to compare. So if you're not sure, maybe you want to see which one's better for your loved one or your client, they can sit there and say, maybe I like these two because they're closest to my house. But now I can compare the differences. Sometimes there's no big differences, but sometimes I've seen something as little as, hey, this facility doesn't lock up medications. That might be important for you. So it's a great additional tool as well to be able to compare. And nice thing, because we are cash indemnity, anything that you choose or find on this site or anywhere beyond that, you can use those services. It's up to you to deem what is appropriate for, it's the client's choice of what's appropriate for their care.
Perfect. Thank you for that. And then I alluded a little bit earlier to the library tab, and that's probably, I've spent a lot of time here myself, just as I mentioned, in asking questions for my mom. You know, when you're looking at a facility, what questions come up? And again, we're all in this business, but you forget things. So I didn't realize at the time that we were looking for a nursing home for my mom that I needed to know how they provide medical care. So when do the doctors come in? How often? Do they have dentists that come in? What does that look like? How often do they come in? Because some of the facilities still take people out periodically for their checkups and things of that nature. And you can't do that with an Alzheimer patient. That just messes up the rest of their day and probably the rest of their month. So it's important to know, you know, when care is provided and what that care looks like, so that even though they are in a facility, you know that they're continuing to get the good medical care that you know they need. So there's a lot of good questions. As you can see, it says here, there's over 95 articles that are in this resource. Lots of videos that are real short, because again, none of us want to watch, you know, 30 minutes on getting care, but they're all like 60 seconds. Some of them are even a little bit less than that. And so it's really a great place to go walk around. And then there's next steps, as we kind of talked a little bit about too, you know, what to ask, what to consider, what does it look like if you're going to have a home caregiver, and how do you bring that extra help in? Elder fraud, there's information on that, which is huge for all of us, I know. So there's information on that as well. So just a great resource for your clients.
Charlene.
Uh-huh.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Just, I never know if it's the audio is in or out. Sorry, guys.
That's okay.
Real quick, and one thought is because all of you are in the field, and this is something where we found great resources in this, is the idea of looking at those 60-second videos. Maybe you have a better understanding of prepping for your sales calls. This will give you information. Maybe it's just a little reminder of, oh, here's a great statistic. Here's an understanding how something works. It may just provide a little education regardless of anything. So maybe just kind of think of that as if you do have, you know, an opportunity to look at something like this through a policyholder's information, you know, that might be an idea. And one question we are getting is going to be, is there access for like someone to go through this so they could explain it? So maybe a generic form. Is there anything like that?
So we can share this presentation obviously with you so that they can see the pages here that we're doing. I can share this presentation out with you. And then at this point, I don't know that we have a access to give you all what I'll call a demo site. But we might be able to, I don't know if we can get that for Katie, Alyssa, or not. I don't know. I know we have access as nationwide, but.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll be able to get access for everyone individually, but it is something that if we're in your office or in the area, we're always happy to pull it up so you can walk through it. But I would say everything that Charlene's showing is pretty much what you're going to see on the website verbatim. It's screenshots of those areas. So it is exactly what's in there, plus the content, what you would need to know to kind of explain it. And then there's still a flyer that we would provide pre-sale and after sale for what these features are, and it's a quick one-pager, and then how to access it once that client has a policy. So it doesn't have to wait till claim. It could be something that they can use at any point.
Perfect. Thank you.
Good question, though. And then, like Alyssa said, if there's somebody that you want us to walk through, Katie, we can actually log in and go through it live, just to walk through the pages. But again, they'll look pretty similar. But if you wanted me to pop into the library and drop down the actual articles, we can do that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep. And then the last area on here is what we'll title is titled expert help. And you can see this is just an additional area. Now, as we mentioned earlier, the whole platform here is free of service to your policyholders. There are some expert help tabs that may incur a fee, but you'll know that before you get in. It won't just, automatically bill you because you look at it. But in here, you'll see, again, they'll give you some insights on those assessments that Alyssa mentioned earlier. There's some cognitive screen ability on here as well. Care advocacy, so if people are looking for help and they need to reach out to somebody and just have conversation for support, they have that on here as well. But it will be clearly defined if there's a fee and where, but you won't get just for clicking this tab. They're not going to charge you for doing that, but just another layer if anybody needs that to go a little deeper. And that's, that's really Silver Brick Road. Again, it's a concierge platform. It's on all of our contracts. I will give you a quick sales idea around this, which is interesting since it's just a platform. You probably think, well, how can I sell something? This is after I've already sold the policy. But as I mentioned earlier, it's on all of our CareMatters contracts. It is on all of our life with long-term care contracts. So hopefully you all have some of those on the books and you can go back to those policyholders and reach out to them. MoneyGuard, it's on their platform as well. So if you've sold any MoneyGuard contracts in the past, they too have this platform. And the sales idea that I'll tell you around this came from one of my advisors, and we were having this discussion about the platform. He had actually sold 2 contracts to some clients, and their policies were over 10 or 12 years old. They were fully funded, mom and dad. And he was trying to get to the next generation. So he wanted to get to the kids and control some of their assets, help them with their insurance planning. And he just hadn't been able to do that. So now what he did is he went back to mom and dad, 10, 12 years later and said, look, I sold you this contract. I neglected to share with you that it has this concierge platform to it. Let me help you register your policy. And so he had the children there, he had mom and dad there, and they sat down and registered the contract, and they walked through this platform and how powerful it is when care is needed. After that meeting, he was then able to sit down and follow up with the children and see if there were any other questions, and he did start subsequently doing some business with those kids. So as a sales tool, I tell you, go back and look at anybody that you have, a CareMatters, a Life with LTC at Nationwide, or your MoneyGuard contracts, and reach out to those clients. Let them know they have it. Maybe there's not another generation you're trying to get to, but it's just a good thing for people to know they have. I mean, we've all heard stories of mom passing away, and 3 years later, the kids are putting the house on the market, and they find that she had a long-term care contract in the drawer. We don't want that to happen to your clients. Let them know that they have this service. Let their kids know that they have this need taken care of. And it's just a great, easy way to reach out and have a nice conversation. And that's all I have. If there's any questions that Alyssa and I can answer, Katie, we'd love to do it.
Well, you guys must have done a great job because I don't see any questions. I'm looking through. If anybody does have any questions, you're welcome to type them in. I guess maybe one thing is, I do think you guys did a great job, and this it really does sell itself. It really does. But can you give a little highlight on next week's call? I'm super excited. I think that we all have seen some changes, not only from Nationwide. We've seen a lot of changes all over the board in the long-term care arena, and I do want to take a second just to address that. And first and foremost, we are seeing age limitations. We are seeing different pricing. We are seeing all kinds of things. But the underlying message is truly the time to plan is now. And if there's anything that comes up, any thoughts, any sales ideas, anything like that, you want to bounce off of our LTC department, I'm here. I have Megan in our department, and she's fantastic as well. But overall, if you guys could just kind of do a quick, brief description of what we're going to discuss next week, I think that a lot of people will be really interested in attending.
Nope, absolutely. And I'll let Alyssa jump in because she's going to run that one, but it has definitely been a very well-received presentation. And as you mentioned, in the market we're in especially, I think timing on it is perfect. So I'll give it to you, Alyssa.
Absolutely. So it is a new presentation we're really excited about, and it's not necessarily something, obviously it's relevant for what's going on today, but really any time in the future, which is we don't know when a long-term care event will happen for our clients. We always hope that it's a great market, but it may not be. And having a policy that really gives you that protection for an uncertain market can really make a difference. And we want to show you why those things, basically a lot of the stuff that we've mentioned about what CareMatters features are and why those are important, but really relating it to the client and saying, this is why this is important, because you don't know, especially if that client's looking at self-funding, if it's a down market, that can look very different as to now you're having to react in a different way that you may not have wanted to had there been a different plan in place. And we understand that, hey, maybe your clients don't really want to do a single pay right now. They may have before, but right now that's not something that makes sense for them. And looking at a multi-pay and saying, hey, you still have good leverage, and this is a time that even, hey, maybe you may not get that same monthly benefit for long-term care, it still can help your accounts recover by not necessarily doing a single pay and being able to spread out those premium payments in, let's say, a 5-pay or a 10-pay or pay to 65, pay to 100, whatever that may be for that particular client. And we'll go into that. There's a lot of great content on there that once we send to you, you'll have, and just different ways to have the conversation. But we'll be focusing on what does it look like when you're looking at a specific account for that client, and how does a multi-pay come into play to help their accounts recover and still plan for long-term care.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
I did actually get a couple questions, a lot of thank yous, and this is great information. So, kudos to you gals for the presentation, and also some questions that are coming up is, first and foremost, is there a printed brochure for Silver Brick Road?
We have a pre and a post-sale flyer on it. So yes, I can send those over to you. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. What we'll do is we're going to add those to the recording of the webinar when we send it out to everyone. So that'll be included. Another thing is how is Nationwide currently underwriting life with LTC products amidst the COVID-19 and any adjustments?
So the CareMatters contract specifically on that end is just a phone interview. So nothing has changed here, which is great and makes it great in this environment. So it's the application and a telephone interview. On rare occasion, we order APSs. So there's never any client screening, our client face-to-face interaction on the CareMatters. The life with long-term care rider, it will just depend on age, medical history, things of that nature. We have some, easy concessions when they're younger and applying for, let's say 18 to 50, 2 million or less. We have what's called an accelerated underwriting platform. And what that is we do a Part B over the phone with our nurses. And if everything checks out from a prescription drug check, an MIB, and an MVR, we can accelerate that without labs or a face-to-face paramed. In some instances, that's not going to be enough information, and we do have to still have someone go out and do a quick check in labs. But we're doing our best to avoid that during this period if we can get an APS and there's been an exam done within the last 12 months. So we're kind of looking at them on a case-by-case basis. If they don't fit under that true acceleration, like I said, 18 to 50, 2 million or less, or so that's kind of a long answer, but it's a moving target on that accelerated underwriting. But we're definitely trying to alleviate as much face-to-face as we can. But if somebody has a specific incident or client that they want to run past, I'm happy to take that offline.
Perfect. Well, I think we've handled everything, and so I want to thank everyone for attending this morning. I think this was great information, and actually I just see another one popping up. What are the ages for underwriting on the CareMatters product?
So we actually will go 30 to 70. Right now we had a little window where we changed that issue age to 69. That will change on, is that May 8th, Alyssa, where we can flip it back to 70?
Correct. May 11th will be that point when it goes back. But at this point, you would already be moving into that group.
Yeah. Okay. So basically 30 to 70.
Perfect. Well, I think we've handled everything. Every time I say that, somebody else types in, which I greatly appreciate. But that being said, we are at the top of the hour. I appreciate everyone again for attending. I look forward to hearing from Charlene and Alyssa next week. and along with seeing your attendance. Please feel free, like I said, we are here for anything we can do to help you with your business at this point. And, you know, as we have Charlene and Alyssa are great resources. So if there are additional questions after we hang up, please feel free, reach out. If I don't know the answer, I have got some gals that would be happy to help me. And I look forward to seeing everyone next week.
Awesome. Thank you, Katie. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Alrighty. Take care, everyone. Stay safe out there, and we will be in touch next Tuesday. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.